Hi, John Chapin with your latest sales tip. And today I'm going to talk about how to get past the objection, send me some information. And as you know, this is typically one you're going to get on the phone after you've done your presentation. So when they say, yeah, sounds good, can you send me some information? The first thing you're going to say is, sure, I'd be happy to. Let me ask you, just so I know what to send, what specifically are you looking for more information on? Now, if they're able to give you a specific answer on this, the first thing you do is isolate the answer. So for example, if he says he'd like to review the different plans and decide which one's right for him, say, okay, is that all the information you need, or is there information needed on something else too? If he says there's something else, find out what that is, and then ask if there's anything in addition to that. Once he's covered all the areas he needs information on, try to eliminate the objection right then and there by verbally giving him the information. So let's say, for example, he only needed to review the different plans. In this case, apologize for not addressing this area adequately and ask the questions that will help you determine which plan he needs. For example, you might say, Joe, I'm sorry I didn't cover all the necessary details to make that decision clear for you. Let me ask you, will you need access on the weekends? Okay, how about at night? Will most of your calls be local or long distance? Okay, long distance in-state or long distance out-of-state? Or whatever questions you'd ask to determine the right plan. When you get an answer to each question, give the necessary information, ask if that answers that question adequately, and then move to your next question to determine the plan he needs. Once you're done with all the questions to determine the right plan, if choosing the correct plan was the only thing you needed information on, you're going to close. So you might wrap up everything with, okay, Joe, based upon that information, your answers, here's what I would recommend. How does that sound to you? At that point, he'll either let you know whether or not it's the plan for him, in which case you'll either close the sale if it's the right plan, or you're going to ask more questions to determine the right plan and close again if it wasn't. Or he might give you another objection here, in which case you'll handle that. Or finally, he might come back with, look, I just want to review the information. If he comes back with this last one, be persistent in letting him know that you have time to review the information with him now and answer his questions. If he persists, the information objection is probably a stall. At that point, just say, Joe, I kind of get the feeling that you're just trying to be nice by not directly telling me no. Is that the case, or do you really want to review the information? If he says he really wants to review the information, first offer to email it to him and go over it with him. Say, okay, Joe, I'd be happy to email you the information so we can review it right now. If he tries to brush you off with, well, I don't have time right now, or something else, say, Joe, let me ask you, other than seeing the information, is there anything else that's preventing you from moving forward right now? No, that's pretty much it. Okay, so if I send the information, can you give me a firm yes or no by Thursday at, say, 10 a.m.? If he says yes to that, ask if email's okay or needs hard copy. Whatever he says, say, okay, Joe, I'll send out the information, FedEx, email, whatever you decided. Then you're going to set a firm follow-up appointment. So, Joe, is Thursday at 10 good for a call back, or is there a better time? If the information objection was just a way of putting you off, which it probably was, he won't want to talk to you again or see you again. So remain persistent about setting up that follow-up appointment and lock it down once you have the appointment. And remember how you do this. So it's, Joe, I'll call you back Thursday at 10. Anything outside of a tornado or you getting hit by a bus that's going to cause you to miss that? Okay, great. You get a pen handy. Here's my number. Here's my name. Ask them to read it back to make sure they actually wrote it down. And then say, okay, look, Joe, if something comes up before then, can you give me the courtesy of a quick call and let me know? Great. I'll send you the information and I'll talk to you Thursday at 10. By the way, odds of closing the sale at this point are slim. This is a last resort, but you have to be firm about setting that appointment and him agreeing to giving you a firm yes or no once he's seen the information. Also, as with any objection, if you find yourself getting the same objection over and over again, you might want to handle it up front before the presentation. So here's how you'd handle this one up front before the presentation. You say, Joe, look, Occasionally I find that after we've gone through all the information I'll present today, I get to the end and some people say they'd like me to send them some information. First and foremost, please realize that I'm going to be very thorough with the information I give you today. I'm going to cover all the information in our literature and much, much more. Right now you have an expert on the phone who will answer all your questions and cover all the information you need. So I think you'd agree with me that it makes more sense to make a decision when you have all the information fresh in your mind than it does to make a decision later when you have nothing but a brochure and a fraction of the information in front of you. Am I right? That's why it's my objection today to give you all the information you need so you can make the best informed decision. Make sense? Great. Okay, so all that said, here are a few other quick ways to answer this objection. First one, great, Joe, I'd be happy to send you information if I thought that would help you. But I suspect that a guy like you, you've probably already got 6 to 12 inches of paperwork on your desk right now. Probably don't need to add to that, right? So look, let's make a decision on this so you can handle all the other things you already have on your desk, okay? Here's another answer. Joe, I can appreciate you wanting to see some information. At the same time, not only did I cover all the information I'd be sending to you, I actually covered more. Well, the information is fresh in your mind, and while you have an expert here on the other end of the phone to answer all your questions, what specifically do you need more information on? Another answer. Joe, let me ask you, does it make more sense to make a decision based upon old, stale, dated information or current, up-to-date information? Obviously, he'll say current, up-to-date information. To which you respond, great, you're talking to it. What information can I give you that will help you make the best decision today? Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Do me a favor, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next video.